teaching of His Majesty is a truth towards mankind. It's not, him don't make war or nothing. It's a teaching, you know. No, this is a teaching, right? As someone who set the example of one must follow and one must live. And His Majesty is the only one, and the perfect one who do it.
Brethren, sistren, youths, elders, Rastafari. It's a rastalocks 101. Tafari King Gates reporting. Yes, Rasta. From the Rastafari Kemetic order. Say, hear you up. Baba said Exodus. Go back to I homeland. Africa. It's our homeland. From the Cape to Cairo is our homeland. Jerusalem, Palestine, Iran, Mecca, Yemen, all Africa. Ain't no Middle East. Now when we say Exodus, we mean leave Babylon. When you read your Bible, Babylon is America. Babylon is the western part of the world that enslaved we. Still been enslaved for over 500 years. And we still enslaved. Not on the shackles on the feet, but it's on the mind. We say Exodus, we leave the lands of the slave master. Because we still on the plantation. The plantation still a capture week. The change is still on the mind. They must say knowledge is the key to unlock the mind. Never will you be free until you unlock the mind. So, Exodus Babylon, respect your elders, do your history. Rastalocks 101 of this. Rastafari. Let's get into it. And we'll talk Exodus tonight. About the Bible, Bob, herbs, and slavery. See, we're going to relate all this to hair. Rastalocks 101. Just a hair show. We relate hair to history. See? Alright. We'll talk about the Exodus a little bit ago. Now, I don't know if I got this focus in good enough, but look in the back of your little Bible. Bible means book, by the way. And this is the Exodus they talk about. Alright. Now, they say Moses, okay, the story is Moses went and got the Jews, so-called Jews, out of Egypt. Because they was being held captive. The same way the African American is. Now I'm going to show you how this relates to you. Alright. Now, they say, when he said, Moses say, Pharaoh, let my people free, or whatever. Alright, we know the story. Those who in the know, those who ain't not in the know, read. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. Okay, right. So, this is Africa. Okay. Egypt, Jerusalem, and all that. Alright, your holy land. The whole Africa is holy. So, they say Moses had to part the Red Sea. And I got a question for you. Moses had to part the Red Sea, or he parted the Red Sea to leave Africa. Now, if he parted the Red Sea to leave Africa, why is it a land bridge right here and it's showing that they didn't have to part nothing? Look, it's a land bridge right there. Now, one thing we gotta know about the Bible is allegory. And it's a meaning it's a meaning in a meaning. So, when Moses went to go get his people, he told Pharaoh that first of all they came in, they needed to eat. So they tried to figure out how they needed to eat. And the Africans showed them how to eat. Showed them how to plant. Showed them how to do agriculture. Showed them how to do culture. Show them how to write. Show them how to do things like that. That's culture building, which is nation building skills. Okay. Now, when he went over there to get his people, so-called out of captive, he came and told them that his people free, which is that's the story. And if he did do that, then what is the story with him splitting the sea? You see, that's where the allegory thing come in there. So I suggest before you even go into this, you gotta know a little bit of history. That's what a rastalocks is. So, historically, they wasn't called Jews, they was called Hebrews. Now those who in the know. Alright. We're speaking in a language that everybody can understand. Alright. But what we gotta know is all of them was us too. This is our story that's been told for over 2,000 years, according to the Bible or whatever. Now we know Africa is a very big continent, over 13 million miles, not even counting the so-called Middle East, which we know that Middle East don't exist. All this is Africa. This part of Africa is owned and controlled by the Arabs or Turkey. So they up under the Arab regime, but it's still Africa. Rastafari. It's a rastalocks. The Bible, the way we can use it is take this Exodus story in the same way the Hebrews was in so-called Africa, or they were so-called captive in Africa. We can use that same story to leave here. You know what I'm saying? Because we under oppression the same exact way. We invented everything. Everything we use in the civilization. That ain't no, it's all documented. It's all, that's public record. So, before we make any assumptions on anything regarding the Bible, we must have an understanding of history before we even touch this, because you're not going to understand what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Now, people been telling that story for 2,000 years. This is rastalocks 101. Tafari Gates reporting. Me here, Haile, Selassie, Rastafari. Alright. We'll talk on Exodus, but we gotta understand that we control both sides of the land. And all of them are African people. Everybody in this book is African people. At that time, but it's explaining the invasion of Africa. See, once this area right here fell, what they call the Middle East. Once this area right here fell, Egypt, which is the cornerstone, and it's the baby of Africa, because we have many civilizations in the inner interior. Those who in the know already know. But once this part right here fell, then it took all of the rest of Africa with the invasions of the Greeks, the Romans, Alexander, the Ptolemy period. They all invaded these lands right here. Ethiopia was all of this. Matter of fact, Ethiopia was the whole thing once again. But once this area right here fell, it took all the rest of Africa. And then, as the people ran from this part of Africa, they ran into all the interior Africa. In the Ghana, in the Togo, in the Ethiopia, in the South Africa, Zimbabwe, Zaire, Libya, all different parts of Africa. So, after years and years of oppression and devastation to the continent of the people, this is how we end up over here. Cause when they ran to we had our own civilization right here, and this is what this story is explaining. And they use that story about the Jews to enslave us, and to this day right here, that's what they use to enslave us. Cause they say that's them on the wall, when we know that that's all African people. We're not saying African people enslaved African people, because we know that's not true. But it was wars, or somewhat wars, going on in Africa. But you can see opposite sides of African wars, soldiers drinking water and laughing and talking together in the media. It wasn't like what it's like was over here. But once they hit this, they had access to all the rest of the lands. And the people that ran from these lands had been over here so long. I mean, like I said, Africa big, so somebody in Ghana might not, they know of them, but they don't know them exactly. But they know their family. They got basically the same religion. But as we left these part of the lands and ran to other parts of the land, as we was getting invaded by Alexander and all of it, Rome and Greece. At first Greece was students, then they turned into invaders. And Rome always been invaders, stealing the people and the knowledge. When we ran into these lands, they say Africans sold Africans. Not true. As we ran into them lands, they went to every African nation and did the same exact thing that they did in Ethiopia, Sudan, and Egypt, which is, Sudan is Nubia. Okay? When they slammed all this, the Nile Valley part, all of the rest of the Africa was for the taking. And that's the conquest of Africa. And you can't say Africa sold Africans, because motherfuckers got machine guns and tanks and shit, which Ethiopia itself has never been conquered. You know what I'm saying? The continent that it is now. But it's been shrunk down to that. You know what I'm saying? So it's been conquered because it was the whole Africa. But the continent that we know of today has never been conquered by no European nation, America, nothing. Has never conquered these lands. We always won there. It's the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. Speaking of the tribe of Judah, but the first person that before I go to that, the first person that they took was the people that was new to the lands all in the interior Africa. So we up in this area doing our thing, building pyramids, building societies, mathematics, science, medicine, and all that. Then the cradle of civilization and all that. Then once they took the best of Africa, which we say is was the best of Africa, they had the rest of it. But the interior fought just as hard with Shaka Zulu and all of that. So the first person that got took and brought over into Babylon, which is here, you can read that in your Bible, is Babylon is fallen. I think that's it, is in Revelations. Rastafari to that. Babylon is falling. Real talk. Once we got took out of the interior of Africa, the first person that they took was the persons that was new to the interior. And then we got brought over here. That's why we doing great things right here in America. Real talk. So that relate to your day and day-to-day life. But back to the Lion of Judah story and the 12 tribes of Israel. That's what this map is. It's in the back of your Bible. I know Most you just read, man. You know what I'm saying? Show history. You know what I'm saying? The babies need to know this. You cheating the babies if you ain't know this. I mean, you ain't teaching them this. Rastafari to that. Alright. These are the lands of the 12 tribes of Judah. The questions I got for these, right, this right here, this is us. I'm a Leo. Lion of Judah. They say the promised land. Or we say the promised land, which we know that's Africa. We don't have to be promised something that's already ours, so we need to get rid of it. All of this is Africa. All the Middle East don't exist. All of this is Africa. All it. You know what I'm saying? They try to call it the Middle East. That's a political term that they use on us to try to shrink our continent. This us. So, those who in the know already know. You know, that's a new coin. Those who in the know already know. Alright. Now, alright. King Gates brethren, Rastafari, Rastalocks 101, me and here you up, Rastafari. Slave ships fighting the slave master trying to get out slave ships getting ate by sharks. We made it over here, and then that's when we would start going through the slavery. Now everybody know about that. Now the common man even know about that. If you don't, something wrong with you. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with you. You can't be helped at this point. So after Jim Crow in the 50s and 60s and 20s and all that, we had Marcus Garvey in the 1920s trying to get us to go back to where we came from. He was the modern day Moses. In the 60s, 50s and 40s, we was going through the same thing after the Civil War, which they said it ended slavery and all that. We know that's not true. Those who in the know already know. Alright. So, like I said, we was doing all kind of things to liberate ourselves at that point. We went through the Nat Turner thing in South Carolina. We went through rebellions all over this country. Panthers, all of these things. Nation of Islam, all of it. Fighting the same system that oppressed we for the last 2,000 years. See, we've still been going through this since then. And that's what I'm saying. I showed you from the 12 tribes of Israel, the Moses story and all that. Them taking our people out of oppression over there. Then we end up back here in Egypt or Mizraim in the Bible. We ended up taking out of our land and brought over here. Now, when he first came into the interior, one of the African kings, he was trying to convince one of the African kings of the Bible, because that's what the missionaries was doing. Trying to convince the African kings in Africa the validity of the Bible.
Almost 49 years ago to the day, Rastafari was crowned King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. Haile Selassie, King of Ethiopia. In 1955, 25 years later, the Emperor set aside 500 acres of land for black peoples of the West who wished to return to the motherland. Now my question is, what importance should these facts have for black people of the world?
What important facts is these things have black people in the West? First fact is that them are planning in Africa, right? Next fact is that Christ. No, the whole thing is when Christ then will return as the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of Judah. I see His Majesty as the Christ of the Bible talks about.
Christians, brethren, youths, elders, it's a rastalocks 101. Safari Gates reporting. It's the reasoning we are taught how the Bible was implemented in Africa. Well, once he told the African king about the Bible, he was asking the African king, where's a picture or a photo or something of your God? Some proof of your God. But the African looked at him and told him, well, I don't got no picture. Just have a look at the people. So they let you know right there that God lies inside of you. So after the Africans blew the missionaries off, the missionary walked off kind of like, yeah, we'll see. But now, even to this day, we got the Bible. They got all the diamonds and all the land and all the fruits and all the sun, all the vegetables, all the resources. And now we got the Bible. But at first they had the Bible and we had all the diamonds and land and all the resources. Alright? So the same thing that happened then still going on, but we can't really notice it because we don't know our history. The most important ingredients in rastalocks is history. The most important ingredients in rastalocks is your history. That's why we separate. We don't practice separation. But we don't be around or go around people with locks. Rastafari. We don't go around people with locks. That when you turn on the news, they on the news for killing their own brother or sister. And then they got locks. They can't separate us visually with locks. If you got locks and I got locks, they don't know the difference between Rasta and just a regular dude. So Rasta not deal with the people with no African teaching. See? Rastafari. This is Rastalocks 101. We are deal with the Bible, Exodus, slavery, and the herb. Now, when you deal with the herbs is every plant that grows natural from the earth.
It really mean again that the people have to unite with His Majesty, forget Africa to name Ethiopia again, as easy as that. Because when they name Ethiopia, man start coming and capture. And with them capture, and just capture, unite them capture and call it Africa. But whenever capture, still name Ethiopia, that means it's like a man of the herb, you know, when I take it to what you live with, is it name herb still, you know? And if you just take this and call it something else.